My name is Tom Egan, 81, and I was born on January 31st, 1942, at South County Hospital during a blackout with 4 other babies in World War II. The blackout, it was just a part of World War II with submarines off the coast, and they had blackout periods where everybody was supposed to pull down the shades and everything was dark. And there were 5 of us, including one grammar school classmate of mine, that were born on that day, January 31st. They were kind of rushing to get ahead of it all. So, due to some problems and parents getting divorced, my grandma, I ended up in a situation where your kids and my kids are beating up our kids, and unfortunately, I've been all over. I lived on, first was Kingstown Road in Peacedale in Rocky Brook, lived in Hopkins Lane, lived on Willard Avenue in a house, and that got rented during the end of the war, and on the same address, I resided in a chicken coop that was refurbished by my grandfather up over the carriage shed. Then I moved from there to, after my parents got divorced, across from Fagans Park, in the corner of Austin Street and High Street. Then I moved to Pond Street. And that's when the marriage came together. I moved to Charleston for 2 years. I've just been all over. I've lived in Hope Valley. I lived on Saugatucket Road, across from the dump where I used to rat shoot. And it was, I made one of my first bicycles out of that dump, Saugatucket dump. And that's it. It was fun. Growing up here, can only thank the Hazards for everything. I learned almost every game that I ever played in the Guild. When we lived on High Street, it was old mill housing. We didn't have a tub, we didn't have a shower. You'd go to the Guild and take a shower when you got really dirty. And it was that kind. It was a time at the movie theaters. You could get in for 35 cents, and that was 25 cents. You'd see all the movies, the cartoons you wanted. Mid-movies, you'd play games up on the stage. I rolled a peanut across the stage with my nose, and I won a cap pistol set. You know, it was that kind of thing. It was just laid back. 1952, the town had 10,000 people in it. In 2020, it had 31,000 in it, so it was a big difference. Everything was open to the public. There was no signs, no trespassing signs. You could swim naked at Silver Lake. That's where the school principal would find you if you skipped school. It was the most beautiful piece of body of water in the state. That's all privatized now, and it was just wide open spaces. It was, and I fished. I fished like crazy as soon as and I could afford to do all that stuff as a kid. Everything. That's about it. But it was just a great place to grow up in. The favorite and the most important, I used to love to go swimming in Silver Lake. You could walk around the whole thing. There's nothing there. And but my favorite story was probably everything that I am today. I owe to my grandmother Egan, who raised me from this Peacedale era from the age of like 1948 to 54. And it was a time when you get read a bedtime story, tucked into bed, kiss goodnight, don't let the bed bugs bite. And it was just that kind. And then my father remarried. Things got a little different for me. I just never felt so secure in my life. And I owe it all to her. History, she's taught me to love history in town. She collected stamps, and it was when they made commemoratives of everything. And she wouldn't put a stamp in her album without telling me, this is this is that. It was a time to dream. I can remember Christmas. I got a Viewmaster. And every birthday and thing, she'd get 6 new films or 6 new this. And I've been blessed because not did I see him through the Viewmaster. She put me on the mic so I could see it myself. And there's very little that I haven't seen that she introduced me to. And that was just, and I'll always be grateful.
Yeah, tell us more about your grandmother, her name, and
my grandmother's name was Elmira Abby Egan. And she lost her husband. He retired from Newport, out of the Army after 30 years. They bought a little house, and I could show you a picture of it if you ever want to put that on. And it's the oldest wooden structure, probably still standing in South Kingston today. And it's up by the Rocky Brook Church. There's a little house up there. I wish somebody would do something with it, turn it into a shrine just to the 50s. And it's sitting there. And I guess my grandfather, Egan, the story, he died before I was born. He died in 1931. And he stood up from the supper table and said, Myra, I don't feel too good. And then he went in and he proved it. He died in the parlor chair. So now my grandmother's bringing up my father and my Uncle Tom on her own. And then and then as it worked out, she got a second chance because she got me and my brother. And she raised me and my brother. So she just went through bringing up her own two kids all by herself, and she got hit. I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Yeah, but she was a wonderful woman. Yeah. Any place that puts me alone when I want to be alone, like a lake or a pond or something. And again, it's all closed off. Right over here, right on the corner, right behind this building here. Beautiful. I used to fish with worms. Now it's all gated over, and the pump houses thing. There's a big, beautiful house that's there, but it's not what it used to be. And all of these little ponds, there's not a pond that I haven't fished in the whole place. And that's when I'm the happiest. School was going on half the time I was swimming. Oh no, it was. I was a little out of control. I worked. I mean, I could have almost flunked driver's education. Thank God for driver's ed, because I got a half a point and that gave me my diploma. But I always worked. I always hustled. I had paper routes, and which was a good way to end up a mailman for 30 years, and it worked out good for me. But swimming, I swam. As far as learning how to swim, that was a part of the gill thing. Old Mountain Field is where I learned to swim. Yep, and that's it. I think they're getting a lot. They're getting a lot from the hazards. It was just the greatest gift that somebody could have given to the town. I mean, and they're still here. But I would like the town to keep in mind openness, open space. Try to do something with the open space. Make things, That's like, I think anything that God put here, it belongs to everybody, except me. And I've got the same one for 60 years almost. She's been over me 60 years. But it's, I don't know. I think the town is making good strides. It's come a long ways. What really happened in the town is when the mills closed, it was kind of Italian, Irish Catholic here, Protestants all in Wakefield. And people don't want to admit it. As a matter of fact, when you look up the counties in South County, there's Usquebaugh, all these little towns, and then there's Peacedale/Wakefield. And for census things, it's considered, it never has been the same town. Peacedale has no avenues. Peacedale has no banks. In 1952, Peacedale, except for Bob Warner's TV and Easterbrook store, everything was owned Italian. Everything. I was a lost Irishman sitting in Peacedale. And I wasn't a Catholic at the time, so it was, but it's been a very interesting place, and I hope they keep it interesting. That's the main thing. But I mean, it has just changed so much since 1952. And I go back, I've got 3 pictures here of the church, Rocky Brook Church, that I took just the other day. And that's where I earned my first little, go to Bible school. I got my first little testament. I signed my name in right here when I was 10 years old. They gave it to me, the preacher. And I'd get the little ribbons. My grandmother would march me up there. And I stuttered terribly as a kid. Stuttered terribly. And boy, I'd have to get up, do them Easter speeches and this and that. And I'd say, oh, God, but to make a long story short, Rocky Brook Church is no more. And I get the idea, I said, how bad can this place be? I said, Jesus left it, Jesus, and he took the cross with him. There's not even a cross on the building. And it's right there in the pictures. But anyway, that's it. Wow. Outside that, I don't have anything really to tell you. I have a head full of stories. I write little short stories. I do for the South Kingston site. Yeah. The Narragansett class, South Kingston Memories. I've been doing, I do a little 2- and 3-page story or something that just floats through my mind. Some people agree with it, some people don't, but that's what I see. That's it. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I could do one little thing that my dad taught me.
Yeah, yeah.
My father always said that the hours that a man spends fishing, God doesn't count against him, and I believe that.